I can hear you.
Good evening, everyone in India. Basically, this is like a multi-platform space we are having today. With Sam sir, we'll be speaking about assembly elections which are happening in India, in Telangana, Chhattisgarh, Mizoram, Rajasthan. Just before we test the technicals like the audio and everything, please bear with us. हिंदी में कहूंगी कि अभी हमारी अभी की जो स्पेस है वो असेंबली इलेक्शन जो इंडिया में होने वाले हैं उसके बारे में है। तो सैम सर पहले आपको संबोधित करेंगे, बाद में आपका जो भी सवाल है तो कृपया आप हाथ ऊपर करिए स्पेस के माध्यम से, सो दैट हमें पता चलेगा कि आपका सवाल है और हम आपको फिर सैम सर से यू कैन आस्क द क्वेश्चन। So can you hear me? Sam sir, can you hear me?
Yes.
I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay.
Then should we start, Son?
Give me 1 minute, Sam. I'll just check the Zoom thing. So we were supposed to have a Zoom stuff also.
So just before we begin, I just want to introduce to the new listeners about India with Congress platform. So basically, we are a group of volunteers who support Congress ideology. So if anyone wants to join our team, there is a website, unitedwithcongress.com, and you can fill in the form there, and one of our representatives will be in touch with you. And then you can join various platforms, like we have research creative teams, then we have this dialogue team as well. If you are a good speaker, if you can host spaces, more the merrier, so please do join. So this is one of our initiatives where we are collaborated with Indian Overseas Congress and Mr. Sam Pitroda's team, so that we get to know the sense with Sam. That's what this space is all about. So please stay tuned and enjoy this space. It's going to be very interesting. I bet you. Yeah.
Thank you.
So over to you, Shan.
Thank you. Sean, can I start?
Yes, Sam. Please go ahead, Sam.
Thank you. Friends, ladies and gentlemen, greetings from Chicago. It is a privilege and honor for
Shan,
me to
the
be.
voice is not audible actually.
Oh, my voice is not audible? It is all full. Can you hear me now?
How about now? Is it?
Yeah, I can hear you, but Sam's voice I can't.
Sam's voice is a little feeble.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Let's see. Is it better now? Sam is able to
We
hear.
can't hear him.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
I'm using actually a mic. Yeah.
Hello? Testing.
But
Can you?
sir,
Yeah.
on a live on a live we are able to hear here. Meaning I have checked all the channels and I can hear everywhere nicely.
Okay.
You should go ahead.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, once again, greetings from Chicago. It is indeed a privilege for me to be here again. As you know, we started this initiative about a week ago, so we could be on multiple platforms to have a broader conversation on variety of subjects with large number of people. Yes. Can you hear me?
I think she's having. Can you
I'll follow Rakesh's instructions.
Sure. Go ahead.
Rakesh, is it okay?
Yes, sir. It's okay. You can go ahead.
Thank you. So the first one we had was last week, where we introduced the idea of these series of conversations on a regular basis. We also talked in the first interaction more about global scenario, Indian scenario, and then we focused on AI. I'm told we had almost 2,000 people listening. It was good to interact with large number of people with variety of backgrounds. And after listening to some of these people and getting their input, we decided that it would be good to have a conversation on state elections. Before I begin, I want to thank Sean, Rakesh, Priyavata, D'Souza, and many other friends who helped us in organizing this on multiple platforms. So today we will focus on the five state elections going on in Mizoram, Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh, Telangana, and MP. Sum total population in these five states is almost 200 million. 1 million in Mizoram, 68 million in MP, the 72 million in MP, 68 in Rajasthan, about 25 in Chhattisgarh, and about 35 in Telangana, which is a very large number. What happens in these five elections hopefully will set a mood for the national elections in 2024. We don't know how things will shape up. If you talk to BJP people, they are confident that they will win. If you talk to Congress, they are also equally confident that they will win. But the real results will be declared on December 3rd, and we all need to wait till December 3rd. People of India and people of these five states will decide what happens not only in these five states, but also in 2024. So I would first begin by emphasizing the fact as to how important is your vote if you are in one of those five states. Don't underestimate the power of your vote. You can decide on the destiny of a nation and destiny of your state based on your vote. You're all smart. You know what matters, what does not matter to you. So before you vote, think a lot about what has happened in your state. What do you stand for? I see everywhere the real fight is of the idea of India. Of course, there are issues on what has been accomplished, what has been promised, lies, misinformation, uh, autocratic attitude, and all that. But at the end of the day, people want love and peace and not hate and violence. People don't like to be divided between their neighbors and between communities and between people who follow different religion, different language, different culture. In general, people of India want democracy and not authoritarian regime with uniformity. People don't like when media is controlled, manipulated. And I think people are beginning to understand the real meaning of democracy and how democracy has been eroded in the last few years. It is apparent, no matter what people say, that the media is totally controlled. It is apparent that EDs and other institutions are in some ways following guidelines which are not normal. So you will see Chief Minister's son being harassed in Rajasthan, big news about money laundering in Chhattisgarh just before the election. And people are beginning to understand that these are personal attacks. You cannot fool all the people all the time. But ultimately, people will have to decide. Lot of PR exercise and promotions and huge amount of funding has gone into campaign by everyone. There are personal attacks, lies, misinformation, media manipulation. But from all of these, people will have to look for truth. And they got to find their own truth. Each one of us have responsibility to find our own truth. Go inside and ask questions. What is good for your family, for you, for your children, for your job, for your prosperity, for your neighbors, for your village or city, and ultimately for your state and for your country. But everywhere, humanity is at the core. What happens to the people around you is the key to healthy democracy. Healthy democracy is not just about me, it is more about us. If we can all live together in peace and harmony, get equal access to opportunities, education, health, and make collective progress, then that democracy has a meaning. If democracy benefits only a few, then that democracy doesn't work in the long run. Nowadays, there are concerns about OBC, Dalits, and all, because in the past, maybe we didn't do a great job. It is time to recognize that and really focus on lifting large number of people from poverty line, from lack of opportunities, to really harness their full potential. I know there is a lot of talent in minorities, OBC, Dalits, and others. This talent really needs to be nurtured properly. Maybe 70, 80 years ago when we got independence, we didn't have that talent pool. But a lot of these kids have worked very hard, gone to schools, colleges, in vocational training, and we need to give them opportunity that they deserve to really bring them into mainstream of manufacturing, management, governance, security, safety, make them entrepreneurs. And that is the meaning of these elections. So with this, I want to open up for broader conversation. So you can ask questions. I will try to answer in Hindi if I can. लेकिन ये इलेक्शन बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है सबके लिए. सो ध्यान से सोचना है आपको कि आपका, आपके कुटुंब का, आपके गांव शहर का भविष्य कैसे अच्छा बनेगा. ये एक बड़ा प्रश्न आप सबके लिए है कि आप किसको वोट देंगे. कैंडिडेट अच्छा चाहिए, पार्टी की आइडियोलॉजी बराबर चाहिए, उनका ट्रैक रिकॉर्ड आपको देखना है, लेकिन ये समझना है कि आपका वोट बहुत बहुत कीमती है, उसे फेंक मत देना कहीं। इस वोट से आप तय कर सकते हैं कि आपके स्टेट के लिए क्या होना चाहिए, कैसे होना चाहिए। और जैसे बूंद बूंद से सरोवर भरता है, वैसे एक एक वोट से देश बनता है। धन्यवाद। लेट्स ओपन अप फॉर ए ब्रॉडर कॉन्वर्सेशन। बताइए। पहला प्रश्न है कीर्ति बिंदाना से। He says India is a growing country. It's correct and right to take people along. Thus, inequality to be addressed through people development centric scheme. But what are the plans and actions points for the country to drive industrial growth, economic growth?
Sam, if you're okay, I can read the question for you for the Twitter space, guys. Is that okay?
Okay, that's fine.
Sure. So, Kirti from LinkedIn is asking, India is a growing country. Is it correct and right to take people along and thus inequality be addressed through people development centric schemes? But what are the plans and action points for the country to drive industrial growth, economic growth, inclusive contribution with the big business houses? These business houses and the MSMEs are the growth engine for the country's growth story. Most must be articulated by the team on overall and balanced growth plan, which will find real.
Thank you, Kirti. First of all, to really have good economic growth, you need peace and prosperity. If you are fighting all the time with each other, hating each other, there cannot be peace and prosperity, and ultimately it will affect economic development. Look at what is going on in Ukraine. Look at what is going on in Palestine and Israel. When there is no peace, there is no prosperity. So, सबसे पहले ये सोचना है कि जब शांति होगी तो काम बनेगा. Then the next thing is what kind of policies we are going to adopt. See, today predominantly people are focused on top-down approach, where very few people are becoming very rich and income inequality has increased globally. So we need new economic model where we begin bottom-up development. We look at new technologies, not to eliminate jobs, but to really create new jobs and use these tools for productivity. So according to me, the real strategy has to be one, bottom-up development, indigenous development, local talent, focus on SME and not big companies and big production, networking to scale, and ultimately in India, real jobs, according to me, are going to be created from maintenance, whether it is maintenance of environment, of equipment, machineries, building, institutions, infrastructure. We have not paid attention to maintenance at all. And it's a gold mine sitting there, whether it is maintenance of our temples, maintenance of our gardens. Two, construction. India needs huge amount of housing. Plus those who have housing today, we need to upgrade a lot of these housing. Look at how people live in slums. There is no reason for them to live in that kind of an environment. Three, agriculture and food. We need to be the food basket for the world. We are blessed with Ganga. We are blessed with great rivers. We are blessed with a lot of water which goes waste because we don't do enough rainwater harvesting. And everything grows in India: fruits, vegetables, rice, wheat, bajra, you name it. We need to improve nutrition. So the value of food has to increase. And we need to provide food to many other countries. But then we need to improve our technology in agriculture, our science in agriculture. We need to beef up our agriculture universities. We have shortages of 5,000 agricultural scientists. People don't go into agricultural science because they think it is out of fashion. But today, with new kind of technologies, agriculture is a very, very interesting field. Indian soil has unique Indian microbes. We need to understand those microbes. We need to really harness and revigorate Indian soil. So there are lots of challenges. Challenges in transportation. We need to expand our railway network substantially. So I think there are lots of jobs to be created, but we need to free up our systems. We need to even make it simpler to start businesses. It is still very complicated. I know it because I see on both sides, in US and in India, too much paperwork, too many requirements from government on this and that and board meeting and dates, and then you make little mistakes, somebody can come back to you after 10 years and ED will come back and say, oh, why did you do this and where did you spend this $10? That's not the way to expand business. Trust people, empower young, let them make mistakes. So we need to create new policy framework for new jobs, new economy. Thank you.
Okay, from Twitter, from Zoom, Sam, we have got Subhash asking how social justice is achieved in Telangana state when Congress comes to power, when seats to context for 60 plus are given to OBC population. Only 20 seats out of 60 is given for OBC population.
See, basic issue is no matter what you do, people are going to complain, which is fine. That's the conversation we need. That's the debate, discussion that is necessary in democracy. But the fact today is that 10% of the people in the upper caste control 80-90% of the jobs. You look at government secretaries, as Rahul Gandhi has pointed out. You look at professors in colleges, vice chancellors in universities, where 90% of the people, OBC, Dalits, minorities, have very little representation. That has to change. And in the process, some people will get hurt. I'm sorry. But we have to make sure that everybody gets an opportunity. You know, the other day I was discussing with a friend, and he had some very interesting ideas uh, which deserve conversation. And I'm sure Rahul Gandhi has thought about it. And at the right time, he will also bring those to the table along with other ideas. One is you really have two or three classes of people. One is economically deprived. They could be Brahmins, they could be Muslims, they could be Dalits, everybody. That's one class. Then OBC and Dalits and minorities who have not been really given the fair chance to represent their population. If you have 90% of the people or 80% of the people in that class, they must get 70-80% of the representation everywhere. But it's not going to happen overnight. So one idea would be to say if you're economically deprived, you can use this privilege once or twice. If you are deprived based on caste, race, religion, you can use it 3 times, 4 times, or whatever. With the technology available today, you can manage this privilege. Maybe you don't have privilege all your life because you are Dalit, but you have privilege X number of times and you use it the way you want to use it. So there are all kinds of possibilities which require really national conversation. But I'm glad that we have started this conversation. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. And Rakesh Reddy PD from Zoom is asking, how can we counteract the propaganda from BJP and BRS targeting the INC on social networks with false propaganda in Telangana context?
See, if you have a lot of money, you can really manipulate media. Today, even in America, media is controlled by money power. So if you don't have a lot of money, it is hard to find media to talk in your favor. But the truth will prevail. Misinformation will be exposed. People get tired of bombarding. When I see in India, for example, during G20, I saw these cutouts and posters and all that. And I said, what a waste of money. Who are we trying to impress? Why can't there be a quiet conference of dignitaries in a dignified way? This is not an opportunity to promote a fake agenda, which says we are Vishwagurus and all. I mean, how can you cheat people like this? But that's what goes on. So people will have to decide who is spending how much money on media and does it make sense? If you think it makes sense, more power to you. But ultimately, you'll
Sounds
have to
good.
find your own truth. Are you voting because of the media pressure, or you are voting because you have analyzed and you are intelligent enough and you can decide what to do with your vote because it is your vote and you are in control? You look at all the media, you look at all the stuff, and ultimately you decide what you want to do in that booth. So I think don't get carried away with all this misinformation. You are intelligent enough to decide. So there is no need to fight with their propaganda by spending more and more money. It won't help much.
Thank you. Thank you, Sam. And Arvind Kumar Sharom is from LinkedIn is asking, I am disheartened by the lack of unity within the Indian political alliance. It's concerning to see a lack of cohesion in state elections and some Congress leaders appearing in interviews with controversial anchors who are banned by India alliance. So I'm curious about the measures the top leadership in Congress interested in taking to address these issues harming the overall alliance.
Thank you, Arvind. I understand your question. Um, in a democracy, there are different voices. You got to listen to those voices, and little bit of disharmony is good. India thrives in chaos. If you want very disciplined structure, you're basically authoritarian. So I won't worry too much. Of course, whenever somebody uses a media that has been banned, it's not very pleasing, but it's okay. Put up with that little glitch here and there. India Alliance
Sounds
is
good.
doing reasonably well, according to me, but there will not be 100% unity because that will be authoritarian. All these people believe in democracy. They will raise their voice. They will ask for their side of the bargain, which is okay, which is healthy. So if you believe in democracy, don't think of authoritarian attitude in anybody. I don't think if some Congress leader went and talked to uh, one of the media persons who is banned, I don't like it, but it's okay. Tolerate it. That would be my attitude.
Another important question from so this is from Namita. So what are your thoughts on UN failure? What's the option we have got? How India can contribute to it?
I assume you are talking not about the state elections, but you are talking about Palestine, Israel, and Ukraine. I'm very disappointed with UN position. I think UN has been paralyzed by big powers. UN doesn't get the kind of support UN needs. The Secretary General spoke up at the right time in the right way. I admire his position. But he was being harassed. Okay. So UN has definitely become ineffective in many different ways. What can India do? India should have been present at the UN meeting on Palestine. India did exactly opposite. How could India be absent from there? But in general, as I have said in my book, Redesign the World, all the global institutions set up during World War II, UN, World Bank, IMF, WTO, NATO, WHO, WIPO, essentially needs restructuring. We need to redesign the world. We need institutions that will respond to the new reality related to hyperconnectivity, AI, decentralization, networking, global talent, rise of China, rise of India. All of these issues demand that we redesign the world. The present design is obsolete, and you can see it in terms of what is happening in the world. Thank you, Nimita.
Okay. So Kirti is from All India Professional Congress, Delhi. So he has a follow-up question, which is around how ready is the country and India alliance, and what we can unlearn from the last 10 years, and also hit the ground running without too much slippages, not forgetting the ruckus that may be created by the opposition then.
Well, if I understand this question right, if India alliance comes to power, there'll be a lot of cleanup required. Agree with you, Kirti. There'll be cleanup required to make our institutions independent, autonomous, free of political interference, whether it is judiciary, security, ED, income tax, and many others, because there are people in these institutions who follow guidelines from outside of their institutions. And that's not healthy in a democracy. So, cleaning up of all kinds of institutions would be a very complex task, because there are people planted everywhere. There are people planted in ministers' offices, I'm told. I don't know the details. But people say that there are RSS representatives planted in many offices. I know from personal examples, couple of cases. One was in Chicago consulate. But that's just one example. Two, you need to really empower civil society. Civil society today is crippled. You have to look at all the false cases on civil society for money laundering and this and that and clean it up and let civil society function properly. We need to change the mindset of the people. which thinks more logically, scientifically, and not go back to religion every time. Nations cannot be run based on religious values. Nations can only be run based on equality, justice, inclusion, respect for diversity, dignity for people, of people. And I think it will be a tough task to bring back thriving democracy where everything don't get decided by PM's office. Every little thing PM can't take credit. I know during Manmohan Singh's time, he never took credit for anything. Now everything is a credit to the Prime Minister. It is not healthy, even for Prime Minister. It is not healthy for a nation. It is not healthy for a democracy. I mean, look at these 5 states. During this election campaign, you hardly see discussion on what has been accomplished by existing chief ministers. That's in the background. Prime Minister is the campaigner in all 5 states. What about local leaders? What about others? And I think in a democracy, you need to distribute credit, recognize people who have made contribution, build them up. Then only you build democracy. You don't build democracy by making one person powerful and giving credit for everything to one person. I mean, whenever I see Digital India credit going to Prime Minister, I realize how fake this claim is. But that's the way it is. I'm not going to change them. So what can I do? You know, no one has said that the credit goes to the talented people in NIC, people who have given 20, 30 years of their life building software for the government, e-governance and others. Credit goes to people who designed Aadhaar. Credit goes to people who worked on Bharat Network. Credit goes to people who build National Knowledge Network. But today, anything, credit goes to the Prime Minister. It is just not healthy. It is not right. It is in bad taste, from my viewpoint. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. Our good friend Dr. Soma Ilangovan from Periyar International has asked he has asked in Zoom the sacrifices of Nehruji and others spending so much time in jail without ever dreaming of holding any power being ridiculed. Hindu fanaticism should answer on what they contributed except to sell the hard-earned assets of Adani, hard-earned assets to Adani. Soma Ilangovan from Chicago.
Well, I respect the fact that many people recognize the sacrifices of Nehru, Gandhi, and all the freedom fighters. And then RSS didn't do a thing. I know, based on the history, their contribution. I get very upset when I realize that one of their colleagues killed my great hero, Mahatma Gandhi. And I can never forgive them for that. Okay. But that's a personal choice. Mahatma Gandhi was my hero. One could argue and say that he was not my hero. Fine, that's your privilege. Okay. But the other side of it is those who criticize Nehru's and others don't realize that these were intellectual giants. Look at the book Discovery of India that Pandit Nehru wrote in prison, without any library, without any Google search, without Chat GPT. Just go read that book. I don't think present leaders can even write one paragraph. Those who criticize Nehru can't even understand one page that Nehru has written. So these are all silly, in a sense, ignorant people who criticize Nehru. They have no idea what they are talking about. They are just lying through their teeth. I feel sorry for them. Can they write one paragraph like Nehru before criticizing Nehru? No. But that's the world we have created. We have created a world in which bad guys are seen as good guys and good guys are projected as bad guys. What can we do? You are a controlling media and you can attack good guys today, bombard them. So people say, that guy must be bad. And you take a bad guy who has no knowledge, is ignorant, illiterate, and promote them as the biggest leader in the world and everything else, or leader of the industry, or leader of a movement, or leader of a party. And you think you are doing justice. Sad, but that's okay. That's the way we are, and we have to live with it. We have to ultimately find our own truth.
Sam,
Happy
thank you,
Diwali
thank
to
you.
everybody. Thank you, Avinash, for reminding me. I should have started with that. My apology. Very happy Diwali to everybody. Avinash Gupta, thank you for reminding me.
Thank you, Sam. And I just want to hand it over to Priyamvada in a Twitter space. Maybe Priyamvada, you can take over. And we have Rahil Khan, Devika, Dev waiting to ask a few questions. Go ahead, Priyamvada. Priyamvada, I think you are. Okay. Okay, Rahil Khan, are you able to speak? Go ask the question. Yeah, go ahead, Rahil Khan.
I can't hear you well. I cannot hear you.
Give me. Yeah, is it better, Sam?
No, I can't hear him.
No, no, Sam.
No.
Yeah, yeah. You should speak louder.
Okay, so I just want to thank everybody who's here, especially Sam sir, who's a great inspiration for all of us, and we learn so much from him by his guidance. We look up to him as a mentor. But today I'm speaking as it's a very open forum. I'm speaking as an unhappy congressman.
Sure.
I have joined Congress only after what I saw these people did to a country from 2014 onwards, inspired by Mr. Rahul Gandhi. Since 2015, I have been the biggest supporter of Mr. Rahul Gandhi and Gandhi family. But of late, as we are coming towards victory in 2024, I am seeing that there are two types of congressmen, which has really left me very sad. One is the millions and millions of people who have joined, educated, young, middle-aged, senior citizens who had nothing to do with politics like me, for the passion to save our country. And we thought Mr. Rahul Gandhi and Congress is the best party to join. But of
I lost you.
Uh, I think okay. Can you go ahead again? Sorry, Khan, you are on mute. Rahil, I think somebody muted. Rahil, can you unmute yourself?
So I'm saying, sir, nowadays it leaves us a bit demotivated to see that there's no discipline in Congress, and some people are here to for their own interests. So that kind of discourages us, who are the true warriors who are fighting on the front, and they make us the scapegoats. And they in the background, they are making their own settings to do good for themselves, the selfish interest when the elections come and
But
when Congress wins.
can you be
So, sir, how
specific?
do we overcome this? If
No.
you
Can
got
you
my
be
question, how do we
specific?
overcome this lack of motivation that we are feeling nowadays?
Okay,
Thank you,
how can
everybody.
we motivate? Okay, thank you, Rahil Khan.
First
This
of
is
all,
the problem prevalent.
I am one of those who firmly believe that motivation must come from within and not from outside. My motivation comes from myself. I don't need outside stimulus to motivate me. Personally, you don't have to agree with it. My motivation comes from Gandhi. Einstein, what they did, what needs to be done. Those are my role models. Of course, when you work in an organization like Congress, you have frustrations because there are fake people who steal the glory. If you are doing well, there are people who will attack you. There are people who will be afraid of your good work, who would be jealous of your good work. That's human nature. A lot of people say that I have been humiliated. I tell them, nobody can humiliate you if you don't want to be humiliated. So if you want to work for a party, you got to sacrifice. And ultimately, your sacrifice would be seen, would be rewarded, would be recognized, would be respected. You're not going to change people. They are there and they will be like that. If you expect them to be rational, logical, fair, it won't happen because people are not like that. Okay. Everybody looks at only their angle, their benefits. That's what we are all here for. So some people will have to give, some people will take, some would be fair, some would be unfair. And that's what democracy is all about. So don't get discouraged, please. You are knowledgeable, you are strong. Continue to believe in what you believe in. Don't expect anything from anybody because if you do, you'll be disappointed because they will not be able to deliver. You do your job the best way you can. Love everybody. Don't hate people who stab you in the back because they will stab you in the back. Every chance they have, they will do that. So you almost have to be a Gandhian if you're entering Congress party. People will make wrong decisions. I see that every day. I tell somebody and they'll go say, yes, yes, sir, Mr. Pitroda will do that. And they do go exactly opposite. I don't get discouraged. I say, okay, that's the way this person is. What can I do? I can't change him. Next time I will try some more. Okay. I mean, people in India don't say what they mean and they don't mean what they say many times. But that's given. So my request would be, please don't get discouraged. It is okay for people to make decisions which are not in line with your thought. Things will change. It will take time. Your presence would be felt, but you got to be there. Look at Gandhiji's of the world started independence movement long time before 1947. They put in decades of work without expecting any results. And that's what many of us will have to do. We can't expect instant response from everybody saying, I said this, so you should do this. And look, you are not doing this, so you don't understand me. And I'm disappointed. Sorry, that won't work. So you are strong enough. My request to you would be, please hang in there. Don't get discouraged. Recognize people are not up to the mark. You are different. And people will recognize that in the long run. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. So, how are we doing on time, Sam? We just finished 45 minutes. I just want to be cognizant of your time. So,
No
can we
problem.
go?
We can go for an hour.
Thank you, Sam.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you, Priyamata.
Now we can hear you.
Thank you.
So, yeah, next question.
Yeah, thank you, thank you.
Divya, please.
No, but Son, I can't still hear you, hear her very well. Just put your phone wherever.
Yeah. So, sorry, Sam. We are having them join to Twitter space. Okay, there
Okay.
may be some hiccups, but please bear with us, Sam.
Okay.
Go ahead, Divyak. Can you be loud, Divyak?
Yeah, thank you, John, and thank you, Rahil, also for wonderful question and answer for your and your perspective is always a good motivation for all of us. So my question is regarding, since you mentioned Jawaharlal Nehru also, and there's something which clicked in my mind. I believe Jawaharlal Nehru once said, like, communism, as much as provincialism, is is a pain for our country. I mean, like, it's a product of narrow-mindedness. I mean, as much as communalism is, provincialism is also not bad. And in that context, my question is basically, when we talk about assembly elections, so many times the parties rightfully, I believe rightfully, they go local, they go to local things. But there are instances like I would like to mention one instance. Last elections, Karnataka elections, Union Minister here told that Karnataka, be careful if you choose Congress. Remember that Kerala is your neighbor. I don't know what it meant, but he said that this something like a comment like this has been said by him. It was not at all responsible comment. In this context, I want to know with your experience in US, which is also United States, I mean States Union. So how do we balance this thing of being local at a state level for assembly elections, but at the same time, don't get into too much of provincialism. We have to remember that we are part of a country and we are a union of state. And so, how do we balance it as a politician, as a political party? How do we balance these two views that we do not get into a narrow mindedness of provincialism or statehoods? At the same time, we are able to cater to the needs of the state for the
Thank you.
assembly elections.
Thank you. Thank you, Divyak. Nice question. Go ahead, Sam.
Thank you. I appreciate your question very much. When Nehru talked about communism, Nehru rightfully so felt that communism was really looking at inequality in a very positive way. That they saw that we need to build a society which is little more equal. They focused more on education and health for everybody. So there was some good stuff. Okay. But this label of communism, socialism, and all that is not black and white. It has a lot of gray. So when you discuss, it is not absolute, but it is more fluid. So when someone makes a comment that next door neighbor is communist, it's okay for next door neighbor to be communist. Because there are good things in communism that you can take. But when you vote for state elections, you must recognize that you believe in certain fundamental values. If those values are related to democracy, human rights, equality, justice, love, truth, trust, those remain intact. Then underneath, there are layers and layers and layers. Like recently in US, we had elections just few days ago, where there was one issue, which was very important issue, on abortion. And there were two very strong positions in the US. One, Republicans felt that government should decide on abortion. Fetus is a living human being, and you can't really kill it. It is sin, blah, 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 blah. Democrats felt it is the right of the woman because it is her body and she needs to decide in consultation with her doctor and family and whatever. Okay. So as elections picked up and this issue became important, many Republicans came back with a balanced answer, which they said, okay, up to 15 weeks, you can decide. But after 15 weeks, you can't decide. At the end of the day, during election, majority of people voted that it is right of the women to decide and control her body. So that issue in Ohio became a very important issue. That was a state issue. And then it reflected in other states. So people in one state can decide the destiny of a thought, of an idea for the nation. So the beauty of union of state is that at state level you have flexibility, but at the state level you can also decide destiny of a nation. So it's a very fine balance. If Kerala is communist today, it's okay. That's what people of Kerala voted. It's okay. Next time they won't vote for communist or something. But just to create that kind of narrative that if you vote for Congress in Karnataka, remember that this Kerala is communist. I use this comment, but people make those comments. And you will have to make your own judgment whether that comment has any meaning to you or not. Because during election, people say whatever they feel like saying to gain their position. Sometimes people overdo it, which is fine. No big deal. But you as a voter will have to decide what it means. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam sir. Next question is AG Bishnoi.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, AG, could you unmute?
I can hear you.
Yeah, AG, can you unmute yourself in the Twitter space?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, sir. मैं हिंदी में मेरा
Yeah, go ahead.
हिंदी में बोलिए.
हाँ सर, हैप्पी दिवाली सर. सर मैं राजस्थान से हूँ.
हाँ जी, बोलिए भैया.
मेरा नाम है और मैं 35 साल से कांग्रेस पार्टी का डेडिकेटेड वर्कर हूँ
जी.
तो मुझे सर थोड़ा ये पूछना था कि हमारे कांग्रेस के जो बड़े लीडर है उन्होंने अभी तक वीआईपी कल्चर अपना के रखा है. वर्कर्स को फोन पे जवाब नहीं देना, व्हाट्सएप पे जवाब नहीं देना, इसके लिए हमें सर कुछ करना होगा क्योंकि सर आजकल लोकतंत्र इंटरनल डेमोक्रेसी है हमारी पार्टी में, लेकिन थोड़ा अगर ये हुआ तो हमारे जो मैं राजस्थान से तो हमारे यहाँ पे इलेक्शन भी है सर और अभी इस बात से बहुत सारी पब्लिक और जनता नाराज है कि हम फोन करते हैं हमारा कोई फोन रिसीव नहीं करता, ये नहीं करता, वो नहीं करता, ये हमें बहुत सारा सुनना पड़ता है सर. तो इसके लिए मैं चाहता हूँ सर आप कुछ सजेशन हमें दें.
सच बात है भैया.
Thank you, AG Krishna.
आपकी बात सच है कि लीडर्स को जरा वर्कर्स को रिस्पॉन्ड देना चाहिए. लीडर्स कभी कभी अपने को ज्यादा मानते हैं और वो लीडर्स लोगों से संपर्क कम कर देते हैं. उसका उनको ही नुकसान होगा लॉन्ग रन में. तो अच्छे लीडर वो है जो अपने वर्कर के टच में रहते हैं. लेकिन ऑन द अदर हैंड इंडिया में इतने सारे लोग हैं जिसको आपसे बात करनी है. मैं मेरा एक एग्जांपल दूं. हर रोज 500 ईमेल आती है, हर रोज हंड्रेड्स ऑफ फोन कॉल आते हैं. अब मैं कैसे भाई सबको जवाब दे सकूं? कोई आके कह सकता है पित्रोड़ा साहब तो हमको जवाब ही नहीं देते. भाई ह्यूमनली आई एम नॉट केपेबल. क्या होता है कि जो भी इंडिया से आता है शिकागो कांग्रेस पार्टी वाला, उनको मुझे मिलना है. अब मैं कितने लोगों को मिल सकूं भैया? हमारी वाइफ चिल्लाती रहती है कि आप तो कांग्रेस वाले को मिलते रहते हैं शिकागो में. कोई समर में सब लोग आते हैं यहाँ घूमने, उनके बच्चों को मिलने, ये वो, सबको हमारे साथ 1 घंटा मिलना है. हम नहीं कर सकते भैया. तो उनका इंटरप्रिटेशन वो भी हो सकता है कि पित्रोड़ा साहब मिलते नहीं सबको. So it's a fine balance.
Krishna, you need to wait for him to respond. Finish the response.
But I agree that leaders should be more accessible. Agree with you. बात करेंगे सबसे, समझाएंगे लोगों को. और ठीक है.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Bishna. Premada, I'll go to Zoom and other channels for a quick round, please.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, Josefa, one of our Josefa Hydri, one of our active volunteer in Indian Overseas Congress here. He is passing a comment. Glad to be participating in the session. So he's talking about how RG is focusing related to rural communities, upholding Gandhiji's vision of self-sufficient India through the roots, which are the villages of India. Thank you for your book on redesign the world. So, and he has also a question. Any thoughts on necessity of non-alignment movement which addressed issues of the developing world? Can there be a diversity vision which is where we can more is done for such countries to restore of each human life in the era of climate change?
I agree that there is a need for
Josefa Hydri.
non-aligned movement, but non-aligned movement today will have to be seen in terms of networking of nations. It is not about aligning with Russia or aligning with US, but it is more about networking of nations on environment, on peace, on opportunities, on migrations. So we got to take these larger global issues and network nations to really have a broader conversation and come to some understanding. Today, and I discuss this in the book, the organizational architecture is hierarchical, feudal, and does not take into consideration the opportunity offered by new technology to network nations. It will take long time for people to realize that the existing organizational architecture needs to be changed substantially. So I believe in non-aligned movement, but it has to be seen in new light. So thank you. किसी ने बताया कि आपको और
With
आपके
Google
परिवार
and
को
Meta
दीपावली
becoming, yeah, you want to read the comment, Sam? Okay.
No, I said someone wrote that Deepavali ki shubhkamnaएं. I think Leher Rutish wrote, Sam Pitroda ji, आपको आपके परिवार को दीपावली की बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं और सभी को नमस्कार. धन्यवाद. Same to you. आपको भी same. With Google and Meta
And there is a question.
becoming
Yeah,
dictators,
with Google and Meta becoming dictators, manipulators, what is the solution, especially meddling in elections?
I think you will have to recognize that social media is not the opinion maker. You will have to recognize that they will make opinion based on profits that they make. So their opinion is not the opinion. Opinion of the people is very different from opinion of the monopolies in media. Monopolies in media cannot make public opinion. And you will have to make that decision. You can't go to Google and Metaverse to decide what people are thinking, because that's not what people are thinking. That's what people with money are forcing people to think. And you got to be independent in your thought. You have not sold your soul to Google or Metaverse. They can't dictate and tell you what needs to be done in your life. So ultimately, you have to decide. You are the boss. They are not the boss. They will do whatever money tells them to do. Okay.
Okay, cool. There is a lengthy question from Ajit Balakrishnan Rajmurli from LinkedIn. Sir, I believe the contributions done by local leaders in this era, the area must be somehow taken to the high command. Their contributions and the regular commitment to public will make our party stay strong with people's mind. When such persons who has a lot of public contributions and commitment are recognized right from the grassroots level till parliamentary constituency, our party will definitely win all the elections. The leadership should definitely recognize and identify these local leaders. It's a commentary, Sam. More of, do you have any
Yeah, I
viewpoints?
agree. I agree. He has a good point, and I agree with him. But sometimes, there are a lot of other things that play. You know, I wish it was that simple, black and white, but it's not, unfortunately. There are all kinds of interactions that go on at the party level. And ultimately, that funnel is very narrow. I mean, I get requests from all kinds of people to meet Rahul Gandhi personally for half an hour only. But every day there are 500 people who want to meet with him only for half an hour. It's humanly not possible. And when you say no, they feel rejected. But you got to do something to be noticeable to the leader. Okay? If you don't do anything, why would leader notice you? If you do something worthwhile, of course leaders will notice you because nation will notice you. If nation notices you, leaders will have to notice you. You can't say, I have done a great job, when not enough people around you say that you haven't done a good job. Okay, or you have done a good job. So I think you have to be visible as a domain expert or as a social worker or as scientists, politicians, businessmen. If you are visible in your community, ultimately you will be visible to the leadership in the party. Okay. Thank you. Abia has a question.
Abia Neetu from LinkedIn has a question. So please share your opinion on electoral bonds. What change is required in the current system that will make the electoral process more democratic?
I remain concerned about electoral bond because I'm one of those who firmly believe the process has to be transparent, open, and there shouldn't be all these secrets about who pays how much money. If you are donating money for political purpose, people have a right to know. Okay, you can't donate in secrecy millions of dollars and say, I want to remain secret. Fine, if you want to remain secret, then use some other name. But somebody has to be told that so much money has been paid by this foundation, this businessman, this whatever. I think people have a right to know. Okay. So I have a different view on bond, but let the court decide. Okay.
Sounds good. There is a comment from Lohi Ritesh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, there's a question from Swati.
Okay.
From Space.
Okay, go ahead. Let's go with it. Go ahead, Swati.
Swati, can you unmute? Hello.
Yes.
Hello, yeah.
Yes, Swati, we can hear you.
Yes. Yes. Can I speak in Hindi?
Yeah, please.
Yes. ओके वो एक्चुअली मैं काफी टाइम से सुन रही हूँ और मैं एक जनता हूँ जो वोट देता है। मैं कांग्रेस से मेरी एक शिकायत सिर्फ यही रहेगी कि कांग्रेस के सारे नहीं लीडर्स तो एक्टिव हैं लेकिन बहुत सारे लीडर्स एक्टिव नहीं है, वो जनता के साथ कनेक्ट नहीं हो रहे हैं। और जैसे अभी ये स्पेस चला है तो मुझे लगता है कि ऑल ओवर इंडिया से बहुत सारे कांग्रेस वाले जो हैं वो इसमें वो नहीं है, अवेलेबल नहीं है, जो कि होना चाहिए। हम धीरे धीरे करके जुड़ते रहेंगे तो फिर टाइम निकलता रहेगा। और दूसरी बात जो हम बोलते हैं कि जनता के लिए ये होना चाहिए वो होना चाहिए, तो लीडर्स को जनता से कनेक्ट करना पड़ेगा। जैसे राहुल गांधी जी भारत जोड़ो यात्रा में चले थे तो पूरी जनता उनके साथ कनेक्ट हुई थी। अभी वो केदारनाथ आए तो भी उनसे कनेक्ट हुई है, पर एक अकेले राहुल गांधी जी के ही भरोसे कांग्रेस नहीं चल सकती है। तो हर एक लीडर को कनेक्शन वैसे ही बनाना पड़ेगा जैसे राहुल गांधी जी बना रहे हैं, क्योंकि ये जो इन्होंने गेम है जो हमारे माननीय प्रधानमंत्री मोदी साहब है, उन्होंने इतना लोगों के अंदर फिट कर दिया है, ये हिंदू राष्ट्र और ये सब चीजें इतनी वाहियात चीजें डाल दी हैं। तो कांग्रेस के हर लीडर को आना पड़ेगा और जो इंडिया हमने बनाया है जो गठबंधन सारे लोगों का हमने बनाया है उसमें अभी यूनिटी का लैग दिख रहा है कई बार। कभी कोई अपोज करता है, कभी कोई अपोज करता है, कभी कोई किसी को कहीं अपोज कर रहा है, कोई अपोज करने नहीं। अभी महबूबा मोइत्रा जी को भी कांग्रेस की कोई लीडर है, उन्होंने सपोर्ट नहीं किया। मतलब ये इंडिया अगर हमारा गठबंधन है तो सबको यूनिटी दिखानी पड़ेगी। कोई कुछ बोल रहा है, कोई कुछ बोल रहा है, तो ये जनता का जो भरोसा है ना वो नहीं आ पा रहा है। तो इसके ऊपर भी हम लोगों को काम करना चाहिए, आप लोगों को भी काम करना चाहिए। लीडर्स जो है वो कनेक्ट करें जनता से।
Okay.
सच बात है आपकी।
Very good comment.
आपकी बात सच है।
Swati.
I agree with you 100%.
So, Sam, any thoughts?
No, I think I agree with her 100%. The leader should connect with people more and more. On first issue, I agree with her 100%. On second issue, there is a little bit of democracy. So there will be some, resistance in bringing everybody on the same wavelength, which is okay. I won't worry too much. But it'd be nice if everyone was on the same wavelength. Okay.
Thank you, Sam. So,
Shan, just one more. I just want to add to question about मोइत्रा जी. So what
हाँ जी.
happened? तो स्वाति जी क्या हुआ है कि जो वोट पड़ा है ना वो प्रणीत कौर जो अमरिंदर सिंह जी की बीवी है उन्होंने दिया है और वो कांग्रेस से निलंबित है अभी. लेकिन टेक्निकली जो राज्यसभा लोकसभा में अभी भी वो कांग्रेस की ही कहलाई जाएंगी. इसके लिए वो गोदी पेड मीडिया और गोदी मीडिया ने ये उठाया कि कांग्रेस के एक सांसद ने प्रो वोट किया. बट ऐसा नहीं है, वो कांग्रेस से अभी निलंबित है, वो हो चुकी है. तो यही होता है कि गोदी मीडिया ऐसे कल मैंने देखा रूबिका जी ने ये ट्वीट किया था तो मैंने उस पर लिखा भी था कि वो झूठ फैला रही हैं. बट अभी क्या करें, इतना उनके पास पूरा कंट्रोल है कि हम लोग कहाँ कहाँ जाके वी हैव टू तो इसी कारण. बट हम अपना ट्विटर और सोशल मीडिया से वी आर ट्राइंग टू काउंटर दिस फॉल्स news and lies.
Thank you, Priyamika. So, Deepak Kumar, you want to go next in the Twitter space? Deepak Kumar, you want to ask the question?
दीपक जी क्या आप सुन सकते हैं?
Hello.
Deepak Kumar.
He's trying to speak. Okay, I'll go to the next forums and come back to you, Priyamika. There are other questions in Zoom and stuff. Okay, Aman is asking, Aman Khan in Zoom has asked.
What is it?
There are a lot of questions. Neil, can you read the questions in Zoom? Can you do that? Will you be able to do? Neil D'Souza. I have difficulty in finding Aman. Okay, Aman Khan's question. So, Congress election campaign starts with high energy and real public issues, but goes down on diverted. But as voting date approaches, whereas BJP takes over last minute campaign with all their big leaders campaigning in the state. What's your take on Congress campaign approach? Aman Khan from Zoom.
Well, if that is the case, we need to improve. Okay, if you think that's a problem, we need to improve that. We need to pay attention to it, that we don't get tired too quickly and keep the stamina and keep going. I will make sure that this is brought to the notice of the right people. It's a good point.
Rakesh Reddy has a commentary about this, the credit being taken by BJP and RSS, a lot of the government responsibilities. Last time I went for a COVID vaccination in the UK, they asked me for the certificate of my last two vaccine doses. I provided it to them. And when they inquired about the COVID, the certificate, the face on the certificate, I mentioned it as a Prime Minister of India. They responded by questioning why his photo was printed on the vaccination certificate making jokes. I felt ashamed. Do you have any commentary on this?
Well, I mentioned that earlier, that Prime Minister should not and cannot take credit for everything. Okay. I mean, there are people who work on it. Give them credit, be generous, respect other people's contribution, put them in front. Prime Minister can't take credit for taking, for example, this successful space shuttle. Okay. The credit goes to ISRO people. Prime Minister is there to pat them on the back. But that's the way it is. So what can you do? People will have to recognize that Prime Minister is very quick to take credit for everything. And maybe poor Prime Minister doesn't even know, and maybe his people are doing it. Who knows? I don't know. Okay. But he should be aware of it. And he should really say to the people, hey, there are others who should get credit. Okay. Please, don't put me on to this on every instant. Okay.
There is a commentary again on Zoom from Subhash. Congress is faltering on effectively communicating the 6 promises made in Telangana, suggesting a lack of confidence among its leaders in their deliverability. Revant himself mentioned Congress pledging to provide 9 lakh rupees per family. Have we thoroughly analyzed the feasibility and thought through the mathematics behind these promises?
I'm sure that the numbers have been analyzed in detail before making a public statement. I'm sure of that. Okay. Now, whether we agree with the, analysis or not is a separate issue. Okay. It is like in the last election, we had announced, Nyaya scheme. And a lot of thought has gone into it, a lot of analysis has gone into it. And I think the time has come for Nyaya scheme to be implemented at some point in time on a broader scale. Okay. So, it's a matter of opinion whether we have done work or not, but I think the work has been done on these things. Okay.
Santosh from Thank you, Sam. Santosh from Zoom is asking, Congress is like Indian cricket team. At nets, the team plays against each other when it comes to tournament, lead elections. They unite and fight when they unite and fight it unitedly.
You see, don't forget that Congress won elections in the past many more times than anybody else. It is only in the last 10 years that BJP wave based on Hindutva has put Congress on the back burner. Congress ideology is still alive. We are fighting for a democratic nation where institutions are independent, civil society is respected, scientific rational mindset continues to have open debate discussions on issues of importance, and no authoritarian attitude prevail in any decision making. That's what Congress is all about. People have seen the results of the last 10 years, and it's for people to decide what is right and what is wrong. In democracy, people speak when they vote. People will have to analyze what happened to all the promises made by BJP on black money, demonetization, employment, improving income of the farmer, doubling it. What happened to all these promises? What has been delivered and what has not been delivered? Maybe Ram Temple will be delivered. That's fine. Everybody should be happy about it. But in the process, look at the amount of hate you have created. Look at how you have isolated minorities and other communities. What is the price to pay? So I think I go back to again the same comment I had made earlier, that each one of us will have to find our own truth. We are capable. We are intelligent. I have great faith in the people of India. They will find out that this is all fake, lies, nothing has been delivered. And if I want to go that route, that's my option. If I want to change, I have another option. But only people of India can decide that.
Sounds good. So I think Josefa has a commentary about your book, Redesign the World. It's a truly an optimistic book, aspiring for a just it's kind of Gandhiji's work, Gandhiji's world. Uh, Gandhiji's talisman shared in your book simply gets us all back to the path. And
So, what was the comment?
yes, ma'am. Few other I think it's the comment is about the redesign the world. I think the Gandhiji's talisman on the book is can
Yeah.
guide all of us back to the path. Is what he said.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, I think we are almost getting close to. So, does Congress have any private application to connect with Janta workers for better communication?
Of course, we are doing it all the time. What is the Department of Communication doing? They are talking, they have press conferences, they have, party newspapers, National Herald, they have social media space, there are seminars, workshops. What I'm doing is an example. So there's a lot of stuff going on. Okay, you got to join in.
Okay, sounds good. What Congress will do to deal with the radicalized portion of the large population, Namita?
Well, first of all, we have to make sure that people don't get radicalized. Radicalization is not good for anybody. You got to have balanced mind, and this ultimately comes to the identity issue. I have to have multiple identity. I can't have one identity. If I have one identity, I will probably be violent. So I have to be a scientist, father, congressman, businessman, inventor, painter, musician, friend, uncle. I got to be all kinds of things at the same time. If I am only hardcore Hindu or hardcore Muslim or hardcore businessman or hardcore whatever, I will close many more ideas coming into my mind. And I'll ultimately take a very strong position on something. In the process, I will hurt other people. In the process, I'll be unfair to people. And that is the beginning of radicalization. So I urge people to have multiple identity. Even as a Dalit, don't say I have only one identity Dalit. Don't say I have only one identity Muslim. Don't say I have only one identity Hindu or Sikh. I have multiple identities. I may be Sikh, but I'm a great businessman, wonderful cook, a great neighbor. So I am one of those who firmly believe in developing systematically multiple identities.
Thank you, Sam. I think on 7th of November, Mizoram and Chhattisgarh went on its first phase, and 17th, Chhattisgarh and Madhya Pradesh is going on next. Chhattisgarh are following on the second phase, and Madhya Pradesh going on its election. On 25th November, Rajasthan, 30th November, Telangana. So, do you have any particular prediction on all these five states? Mizoram, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Telangana.
I don't have a crystal ball. I don't have predictions, but I read about different views depending upon who you listen to. Um, Results will vary. So, my advice would be let's work on elections, let's vote wisely, and wait for the elections on December 3rd. Not get overconfident by polls and all. Polls really don't tell you the truth. They try, but sometimes the input they get is not very reliable. Samples they take may not be adequate. So don't jump to conclusion. Work very hard as a congressman to make sure that Congress wins, and keep at it.
Sounds good.
Okay.
How to stop the manipulation, Sam? Is it like, is there any way as a Congress worker we can stop manipulation? Because it's not allowing the fair voting to be conducted. There is always the EVM
Well,
rigging and many other things are in the public domain.
we believe it is the responsibility of the election commissioner to make sure that elections are fair and free. There has been concern about EVM. I also have raised my voice. I believe there is an issue there of some kind, mainly because of the logistics, more so than because of technology. But there is a combination here. We don't know exactly what the issues are unless and until you are really given a fair chance to examine all the hardware, software, and systems and logistics. So be vigilant. Make sure that when the voting machines are taken, nobody has chance to tamper with it. Make sure at the election booth there is environment of safety and security. Nobody is bullying you to vote one way or the other. And just be vigilant as a citizen so that justice is done to everyone's vote. Everyone's vote is counted properly, registered properly, and we hope for the best.
Maybe the 100% VVPAT and a few other things, even the mobile jammer near the EVM strong rooms, these kind of proposals, which is from the community, may be helping us. What are your
Yes,
viewpoints?
I
Do you
think
have
there are
any
issues
particular
on
list of
EVM.
suggestions?
Yes, there are issues on EVM that people have talked about at length. Like I said, I've also raised my voice at certain points. Local committee or group of people like Anjali and Devasa Sham and others have looked at these issues very carefully. They strongly recommend that we, one, change the printer so that printer is legible for 5 years. And printed receipt today is not legible after a week or so because the ink fades away. Two, make sure that all paper receipts are put in a box, and if there is a need, you can count those. And I would like, if you are counting, count everyone. Why take a sample? What's the hurry? If you can build better trust, take some time. If it takes 3 more days to announce the results, it's better to do that now and build trust in a democracy than have mistrust and be in a hurry. So I think it's a key issue. Let every paper receipt be stored and counted if necessary.
Maybe even 100% VVPAT is what even the lot of opposition and many of the local committee kind of people are asking, right?
Right.
So
That's what I'm
I will
saying.
go for Deepak Kumar, Sam, quickly. Deepak, you want to ask question? Or in a
Hi,
question to
Deepak.
ask question? Or AG Vishnu, you have any questions from Twitter space, Premita?
No, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Vishnu. Thank you. Deepak, you have question? Yeah, go ahead. Can you be loud, Deepak?
I can't hear.
जोर से बोलो.
बोल रहे हैं सर कि हम लोग का रिक्रूटमेंट हो गया था, मतलब लास्ट टाइम पर हम लोग कैंसिल कर दिया गया. जो अग्निपथ स्कीम लाया गया उसके चलते हम लोग का पूरा जितना भी फिजिकल मेडिकल या जी सर इसके लॉन्च किया गया. जो पीछे के जो रिक्रूटमेंट थे उसको पूरा निरस्त कर दिया गया. उसके बाद हम लोग को कुछ नहीं किया गया. बोला कि सीधे 4 साल में आओ. उसमें ना एज की छूट दी, मैं कुछ नहीं दी.
समझ में नहीं आया मुझे.
हमारा जो हमारा वो एक बार बोल दे कि हाँ आप लोग का रिक्रूटमेंट पूरा किया जाएगा. उससे हम लोग का वोटिंग और बढ़ जाएगा।
Okay, thank you.
1,30,000 हाँ सर, 1,30,000 बंदा है हम लोग ये थी आर्मी का और 7,000 है मतलब कि एयरफोर्स का।
Very good. Sam, you have any comments?
No, I couldn't hear properly.
Uh,
Can you
okay,
explain?
this is mostly on the yeah. Can you repeat, Deepak? और एक तरफ बोल सकता?
बोल रहे हैं सर कि जो हम लोग का आर्मी का जो रिक्रूटमेंट हुआ था 21 और 20 to 21 वाला, उसमें का पूरा जितना भी हम लोग का रिक्रूटमेंट चयनित हो गया था, पूरा फाइनल प्रोसेस था, मेरिट लिस्ट भी आ गया था, उसको पूरा ज्वाइनिंग नहीं दिया गया। एयरफोर्स का 72 लड़का था, उसको निरस्त कर दिया गया, उस लोग का भी ज्वाइनिंग नहीं दिया गया। बोला गया कि आप लोग का होगा लास्ट में ड्यू टू कोविड रीजन बता कर हम लोग का पूरा ज्वाइनिंग कैंसिल कर दिया। उसके बाद लाया गया 4 साल के लिए ये अग्निवीर, उसमें ना हम लोग का एज में छूट मिला, कुछ नहीं मिला। उसके बाद में हम लोग का पूरा निरस्त कर दिया गया।
I think a question is about Sam on army recruitment and also on Agnivir. Agnivir, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know enough about it, so I would rather not comment.
Restriction, everything has created problems. Yeah.
यस सर,
Yeah.
हम लोग का पूरा चयनित हो गए थे, हम लोग मेडिकल फिजिकल सब क्वालिफाई कर गए थे, बस हम लोग का ज्वाइनिंग आना बाकी था। उन लोगों को हम लोगों ने ज्वाइनिंग दिया गया ना, हम लोग का एज में मतलब रिलेशन से कुछ नहीं दिया गया और बोला गया कि आप लोग का पूरा निरस्त कर दिया गया एक ले आकर, जबकि हम लोग को आश्वासन मिलता रहा कि आप लोग का होगा ज्वाइनिंग पर नहीं किया गया।
Okay.
लास्ट में अभी भी लाके ला दिया गया।
एक minute. So, Sam, it's mostly about almost introducing this Agnivir kind of schemes where there is no solid recruitment happening on Army, Air Force, and it's kind of temporary kind of system Agnivir has got. Do you have any viewpoints on? He's saying a lot of youths are upset, and maybe Congress are taking some stand and coming up with a manifesto kind of a stand, maybe of help to assure youths what we will do.
I don't know enough about it.
मुजफ्फरपुर से बिहार से मुजफ्फरपुर पैदल मार्च कर रहा है बंदा।
Yeah, give एक minute दीपक कुमार, let's hear. Go ahead, Sam.
No, my response is कि भैया मुझे इस पर ज्यादा पता नहीं है, तो मैं कुछ कहूं वो वाजिब नहीं रहेगा. I will talk to some experts who understand the nitty-gritty of it and learn some more about it. लेकिन अभी मैं कोई भी जवाब नहीं दे सकता क्योंकि मुझे इतनी डिटेल्स मालूम नहीं है. धन्यवाद.
Thank you, Sam. Almost we are done with all the questions in all the forums.
Thank you.
Just last question from Prakash.
Yeah. Last question from Prakash. Okay, let's end with this because it's a good 1.5 hours, 90 minutes. Yeah, go ahead, Prakash.
Yeah, my question is regarding the courts actually. Since like there are so many pending cases till today, lakhs of thousand crores of pending cases. The reason why I'm asking is like there is a road from my village to municipality to like headquarters. It's 2 kilometer stretch, but this is there is a case pending on this road from 9 years. It's in High Court. On that reason, they have stopped the development. They have not repairing the roads. It is become more worse situation. So, like, what would be your approach on this thing? Because it is not a simple issue; it's a very complicated issue. But a common people are facing regarding these small issues like land encroachments or anything like that. And one more question is like regarding OPS, old pension scheme, because small percentage of people are working in government, but they get if you get the old pension scheme, it will be more burden on the younger generations, like upcoming generation. There will be more burden on them.
Thank you, Prakash. It was both very nice questions. Let's hear Sam's response.
First of all, court cases are a major challenge in India. We have close to 50 million court cases pending. I don't understand why we cannot use technology today, especially AI, I'm confident that if we use AI technology, if we get support from Justice Department, judges, Chief Justice, and his associates, we can clean up all 50 million court cases in 3 years. I'm 100% confident. Three, maybe 3.5, but it can be even 2. Because today, AI technology can read lots and lots of files and come up with conclusions. In the process, we may do a little bit of injustice to some people. That's okay. But we'll clean up the backlog. This backlog is just not acceptable. There is no democracy if there is huge amount of delay in justice. I mean, it takes 10 years to settle a court case. How can you leave simple court case? I know of a one where, somebody has stolen or taken, some money in a business transaction. It has been going on for 8 years. What is the cost of money for 8 years? Why can't that court case can be settled in 12 months? It's all there. So we are not using technology to really clean up our court cases. Ultimate responsibility is with the Supreme Court, Justice Department. You can't point finger at anybody else. You got to say, I will change this. I can do it. Let's get the best talent in the world. And here is a mission to clean up 50 million court cases in 3 years. It can be done. If Justice Department is interested, they can talk to me. I'll be able to help. And there's an open offer to Chief Justice to talk to me. I will help organize the best talent. Of course, decision is his. He's the boss. I'm just an instrument to help. That was your
Sounds good.
first
I think
question.
that was a very kind. Yeah.
Second question was about?
On the old pension scheme, Sam, is it? It's kind of
Again,
when
I
it's
don't
brought
know.
back. Is
Again, I don't know enough about pension scheme, but I can tell you it is a problem in every country. Social security is a challenge in America. Pension is a challenge in Europe, and pension is a challenge in India. Because the numbers keep on increasing, who will pay for it? Young people will pay for it because they'll have to work harder. They'll have to pay more. It is unfortunate. But everywhere in the world, debt is out of control because most of the people are living on the future debt. Who's going to pay that debt? Next generation. Next generation is going to increase debt some more. So who will pay? Next generation. Somewhere something will have to be done. Maybe time has come for a reset in financial system. Look at the amount of debt America is carrying. Is it sustainable? I don't think so. Look at the debt India has today. I mean, we are talking about all this growth and all, but look at the debt. The debt in Gujarat, I know, is unbearable. No one talks about it. Everybody wants to build bridges and roads and, big buildings. Fine, that's great. But have you looked at the financials? And it's a challenge. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. I think with this we can end this today's session. So maybe next week we can plan. Are there any topics the community wants to suggest, Priyamata and team?
Yeah, let them
Anybody is
suggest topics.
sure.
But thank you, everybody. I hope it was useful.
Yeah, you can suggest in the Twitter and we will take it from
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Thank you, Priyamata. Thanks, Neil. Thanks, Rakesh Patel.
How many people we had today?
Everybody for helping us put this together.
Shan, Rakesh,
I think
did we have?
I'll be able to tell after taking a look.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. Again, happy Diwali.
Thank you, everybody. See you guys next week. Happy Diwali,
Thank
everybody. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Can I have 1 minute?
Yeah. Yes. We will just end the stream, live stream, and then we'll talk. Somailango. Give me a minute.